fun today, guys. You want to come to the front, sing, clap, dance. Let's have a good time as we get ready for our Friday. It's cold out, so we got to be moving. Come on. Bow your heads, close your eyes in a brief moment. Heavenly Father, Lord, we love you. As always, Lord, we are thankful for this place. We're thankful for this building and all its people in it, because without everybody here, God, this is just a building. It's an empty space. We make this school. We are your people. We are your community. God, we love you. Thank you for the rain, Lord. I know that it's been a little cold, a little dry, so I know it's going to rain today, so we thank you for that, God. Let us have a good day today. Let us go out and do good. Let us have fun. Let us make the best of every situation that you have given us. So, Lord, as we go about this Friday, keep the bus drivers safe, keep everybody safe as they go off campus. God, I pray that you just open up our hearts and our minds as we hear from Mr. Carter in a few minutes. So, in your mighty name we pray. Amen.
Yeah, it's really easy to feel compassion when you see horrible, tragic conditions like that, whether it's with animals or with humans. You know, recently there was another earthquake in the Caribbean, and more people are being, displaced from their homes or injured or even losing their lives. And when we hear about that, we feel compassion. Those of us that are grown, we want to get out our credit card and make a donation to the website. It's real easy to do that. It is. What's difficult and what I want to challenge you guys to do is to be compassionate all the time. Now, there are certain things that we are compassionate about all the time. Your family, all right? Somebody messes with my family, boy, I'm going to get up there and defend them to the best of my ability. Teachers, we're really compassionate about our classrooms. Some of you have been silly enough to come to my classroom to ask me a ridiculous question while I'm in the middle of teaching, and I'm not really very nice to you when you disturb my teaching because I'm compassionate about this. That's called my circle of compassion. That's easy to do. What's hard and what I'm challenging you is to go outside of your circle of compassion. Find some other things to be compassionate about. Which means you're going to have to open up your eyes, open up your mind, pay attention to your surroundings. You're going to have to look and see what is out there for you. And if you can't think of something to be compassionate about, then go to somebody, one of your friends, your parents, your teachers. We can help you find something to be compassionate about. Compassion is the theme for our school. Okay, sometimes I think it ought to be dogs, because between Solo and Max and Ruby when they come, and people want to wait up in the car line just to see which puppies are in the car. So we're all like dog crazy. You guys know I have a lot of dogs. Miss Michelle and Mr. Eric have a few dogs. We got Mr. Nick with Brian and Mr. Blake, and he's got a couple of dogs. And Miss Sharon, holy cow, Reese.
What's that dog?
And a lot of you have different pets and everything. We are very compassionate about that, very passionate as well. Okay? There are more things out there. I want to talk to you a little bit about our school. Okay? For me, I've been here for almost 10 years now. And I think the only one that can beat me is Miss Karen. She's been here longer than that. Most of our other teachers have been here for several years as well. When we come here and we fall in love with the place, even though some days it's really difficult, and you know who I'm talking to, but we still love what we do and we love the mission that this school is going towards. We are compassionate about that. We are passionate about that. This school is very different. I have worked at a lot of different schools. I've worked at 3 or 4 different private schools. I spent almost 20 years in public school. I have never seen a school that works the way that this one does. It's called non-traditional. We do a lot of things very different from other places. because we're trying to find what works for you. Our school is also an interdenominational. Ooh, nice big word. What that means is that as far as denominations, such as Catholic, Baptist, Methodist, Presbyterian, some churches don't claim any affiliation with any. They're just a Christian church. Okay? We accept them all. We are not regulated by any specific church. Okay? We are Christian-based. We are faith-based. We are plant-based. This is what our school is about. We do things very different. We have our Friday workshops, and we start off with our assemblies with chapel. Okay, where a lot of times the Word, meaning the Word of God, the Gospel, will be preached to you. And sometimes we have other special guests that Miss Michelle and I and a couple of other teachers have got together and planned and think that they have something very important that's worth presenting to you students. So we have invited them, and we have more that are going to be coming. Some come back multiple times, and some are only able to be here once during the school year. We've got some of those that are coming up throughout the rest of the school year. But all of these guest speakers that we have are dealing with the theme of compassion. Last week when Dr. D presented about bullying, it was compassion. Whether you are fighting against bullies or learning to not be a bully or learning how to deal with a bully, compassion is right there. Those of us that are on the fringe and see that's going on, we need to have compassion and go and fix that. Our goal for each assembly is to bring everybody together in a community. It's the name of our school, Solid Rock Community School. We are a community, like a family. That means we stick up for each other. Sometimes we may not get along, we have an argument or disagreement, but we deal with that just like you do in your home. All right, our community works together, and we're trying to find different things to show our compassion. One of my favorite things, what I was involved with last year, and what Mr. Blake is doing this year, is the community service group, where they get to go out. Not just because it's a field trip every Friday, but they go out and they do things to help the community, whether it's cleaning up the beach or going to a retirement center and working with the old folks. Lots of different things that are physically showing that compassion. That is a wonderful, wonderful thing that we need to be doing. In compassion and within our school, we need to love each other. We talk about that a lot. I give you the examples with our daily compassion lessons about how Jesus had compassion. This week, there were several stories about him being the good shepherd, thinking of the people as sheep, and sheep need a shepherd, a leader, and he was that to them. Why? Because he loved them. And they were all very different. They were different sizes, different ages, different races, different beliefs. He didn't say, okay, only you that live the way that I live can come along with me and I'll feed you. No, it was everybody. Everybody. Not just one particular group. Now, he may not necessarily agree with some of the things that some of these people were doing, but he didn't just get rid of them. No, he did welcome them in so that then they could see the way that he was telling them to live their lives. And hopefully then they would change. Okay, but even somebody that does not want to believe the way that you believe, Jesus set us that example that he would accept you as a person. And that's what we need to do. Everything that Jesus did when he was here on earth was our example for us to learn how to live our lives. And that means to be accepting, but not just accept. That's that's easy to do, where it's easy to say. Because you can say, yeah, I accept you, and I accept you. And then on the inside, you're like, no, they don't believe the way no. Here's the hard part. I'm giving you lots of hard challenges today. Support. That means not only just accept the fact that they are different than you, but you support their right to choose to be different than you, whether it is the church that they go to, the school that they go to, the games that they play, the food that they eat, whether they exercise or not. You have to support them. You have to accept them. I've told you guys lots of stories of my wife's oldest son, Fernando. When I first met Fernando when he was 12 years old, he was a beanpole. I mean, a strong gust of wind would knock him over. He couldn't have weighed 8 pounds at 12 years old. I mean, he was scrawny. This child today wears, well, he's a man now. He wears a size 40 in pants, and for those of you that aren't aware of the sizes, that's big. He's, as my Spanish wife says, el gordo. All right? He's massively overweight. And it's because he doesn't eat properly. And every now and then he'll come out and he'll go, man, this pants don't fit me anymore. And very lovingly I will say to him, you might want to shed a few pounds by changing your diet. He's physically unable to do the exercises because he was born with a handicap. So I can't tell him, get on the treadmill or do some crunches. Can't tell him to do that. But I accept him the way that he is. But I try to help him. And he says, no, I don't have time for that. I got to go to McDonald's every day. I'm like, well, that's your choice. Quit complaining about being overweight. But that's you know, you're not stupid. You know the things that you should do. So that is something that I don't really agree with him on that. But that's his right to choose, even if he chooses incorrectly. When I first met my wife, she was not associated with any type of church. So while we were dating, and then when we got serious, and then we got engaged, I let her know. I said, well, I go to church. I'm a Christian. And she's like, yeah, that's one of the things I love about you. Oh, that made me feel so good. And I told her, I said, if we're going to combine our families, I would like for our family, and she finished the sentence for me. She said, to be a church-going family? I said, thank you, God. Yes, that's what I want. And that's what we did while our children were little. And when they grew up, one of the 3 still goes to, he found his own church. My son, who lives in Orlando, does not. Fernando, who lives with us, does not. That's what they have chosen to do. It bothers me, it breaks my heart a little bit, but I have to accept that. See, not all things that we're involved with are going to be, sunshine and roses, happy-go-lucky. There's going to be some difficult choices, and it's hard to support those kind of people. But you know what? The things that we try to teach you here at school, that helps you to get the encouragement to not give up. Not give up. Love all of these people, even outside of your own families, regardless of their differences. We need to take care of ourselves. We've talked about that a lot. We've had a couple of guest speakers that have talked to you specifically about loving yourself. And one of the things is to treat your body, and the Bible tells us this, like a temple. In the book of Romans, the Apostle Paul, not Coach Paul, the Apostle Paul, he writes that your body is a temple. Don't put things in it that are not good. That is one way that you can show respect to God. Because God has given us this body. He has given us our life. And what we do with it is our gift to Him. If we choose to poison our body, whether it's with alcohol or drugs or bad food, that's not a very good gift. I know many of you out there have received some bad gifts. We were always allowed to open one gift on Christmas Eve, and many times the gift that I opened up was colored underwear. I'm like, really? This stinks. What a horrible gift to get. Right? So multiply that 1,000,000 times. How bad I felt, how bad you have felt when you got a bad gift. Multiply that 1,000,000 times. And that's how God feels when we give him a bad gift. So what you do with yourself is your gift to God. Not to mention the fact that, it's good for you. Get yourself in shape. While you guys are young now, because when you get old like me, it's a little bit harder to lose some of these extra pounds that you put on. That's just the way that age works. But while you're young, make those changes now. Get yourself into a good physical regimen. Do some daily exercises. Stay limber. Eat properly. Get a good night's sleep. When you guys come to school, and the first thing you want to do is put your head down on the desk. Don't bother me, Carl. I'll wake up when the morning show's over. No, you won't. And you don't. And you're dragging all day long. If you just let me sleep during the whole room, then I'll be great for the rest of the day. No, you won't. You're going to be dragging all day. Get to bed earlier. Sometimes I've heard you guys come to school and you're bragging about, I was up till 3 in the morning playing Fortnite. And sometimes you're like complaining, like, do you know that my friend texted me at 2:30 in the morning? Yeah, well, why did you answer it? Don't answer it. Turn the phone off. Go to sleep. You want to sleep. Get a good night's rest. I know for me, and there are times where I am up for whatever reason, longer than I should be, and I don't get enough sleep. And those are probably the days that when you come into my room and you go, good morning, Mr. Carl, I go, yeah, what's good about it? Yeah, when you're not rested properly, you're not in a good mood, and you're not going to be at your best. Sometimes when you guys are when you're sitting in class and you're thinking, I have no idea what they just explained to me, you're probably not able to focus. And if you stop and think about it and be honest, it's probably because you didn't get enough sleep. These are things that we want you to do to help you become a better person. And again, Jesus sets us the example for that. And specifically, I want to talk to you guys about calming yourselves down. We've called it several different things this year. I'm really big of the stillness title that we stole from one of our presenters. And I started putting that on the morning show. It says stillness, and that's where we calm ourselves down for just a couple of minutes. It's just a couple of minutes to get you focused on your education. That's why you're here. That's the whole reason why you're here. It's not to see your friends and have social time, although that would be good. That's kind of like an extra bonus, but the real reason you're here is to learn from the teachers. So we want to get you settled down and focused. It is vital that you do that. If you are not focusing on what we're saying, you're wasting your time. You're not getting anything out of it. And that's just a wasted day. And a wasted day to me is a sin. I mean, that's just crazy. Don't waste an opportunity. Now, Jesus himself went off and did this. Now, I'm going to blow your minds here because some of you can't seem to sit still for just the 2 minutes that we do our stillness activity during homeroom. And I know you have heard some of the teachers that practice this outside have told you, yeah, I do mine for a half an hour. Half an hour? That's a whole episode of The Office. No. Some people go longer than that. And you just can't fathom it. You know how long Jesus went? 40 days. That's over a month. That would be like if he started today, tomorrow is February, it would be halfway through March before he was done. That's crazy. Now, I'm not telling you guys to spend a month being still and communicating with God. Jesus, he was Jesus, right? He's the only guy that could walk on water and that was perfect. So, but it's a good example. And if he could do that, then surely we can calm ourselves down enough to be able to focus on what we're doing in our class or in our home. We've talked a lot this year about respecting our planet, Mother Earth. We've seen some videos. There's a great organization called 4Oceans, where these two guys started cleaning up all the plastic that's in the ocean, where the whole world is talking about the problem with the ocean, the plastics. And so people are cutting back on their plastic supplies, like plastic water bottles. They're using the reusable flasks. Okay? These are things that are very important to our society right now, the entire world. And if we don't participate in that, then we're contributing to the problem. If we're not part of the solution, then we're part of the problem. And this is the only planet that we have. You know, this came directly from God in the very first book of the Bible. Our first assignment was for Adam and Eve to watch over the Garden of Eden. They were charged with taking care of it. They got to name all the animals and take care of them. But they also had to take care of the earth. It's a command right there from God. How can we ignore what God is telling us to do? And right now, because so many people have ignored what God has told us to do, now we've got problems. So those of us, and that's everybody in here that have intelligent brains, you need to figure out how you can help to solve that problem. And lastly, I want to talk to you guys about animals. We started off with that video. I want to talk to you about animals. A lot of people have asked me, are there going to be animals in heaven? Well, I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is some of the animals are, and some of the animals are not. Cats. No, I'm kidding. No, God says, He gives us a challenge in the book of Psalms. He says that He will preserve both people and animals. In the book of Proverbs, He says that a righteous person will take care of the beasts. That means the animals. So if you're taking care of your animals, then you are on the road to being a righteous person. And isn't that what we all want? Nobody wants to be the bad guy in the movie. Everybody wants to be the good guy. All right? Do you want to be the good guy? And take care of not just your own pets, but things that are affecting other animals. Okay? Animals, again, back to the dog thing. Let me tell you a little bit about dogs. Dogs are the best example of how to be a Christian. They really are. They really are. They don't necessarily go to church and sing praises and go up to the altar and pray. That's not being a Christian. You know what being a Christian is? You step on a dog's foot, the dog might scream and cry, and then they're going to come right back to you and want to lick you in the face. Because they forgive you. You don't believe it? You don't think that's true? I'm not telling you to try it. Please don't step on your dog's foot. But try this one. These are the grown-ups here, like Mr. Nick, Mr. Brad. Try this. Go home tonight, take your wife and your dog, and put them both in the trunk of your car. Close the lid. Leave them there for an hour. You come back and open the trunk. Which one is going to be happy to see you? The dog. Exactly right. The dog will be happy to see you. Please don't do that. No. My dogs are like that. I have one dog in particular, Wooly Bully. He's a gigantic Chihuahua. When he was a puppy, my wife was trimming his toenails and she cut one a little too short and it bled. To this day, we cannot touch his feet. He will not let us. And we're sitting on the couch watching TV and he's sitting with us and I'll go to pet him and I accidentally pet his foot, he jumps up and runs away. I tell my wife, you've scarred him for life. But he comes right back. He sleeps with us. He loves us. Even though he's been hurt, we all get hurt. These things happen in our lives. But he sets the example. Every time that I see him do that, I think, no matter what anybody says to me or does to me, I am supposed to forgive them. And it helps me, because there are times when even some of you have said some rude things, and I get kind of angry about that. And I think of how Wooly Bully does, and it makes me want to be as forgiving as he is. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Take care of your planet. Take care of your animals. If you don't know how to do that and you want to talk to me or Miss Michelle or any other teacher more specifically, we will give you some specifics on what you can do and how you can do it. But for right now, for today, I want you to take away these challenges, these hard things that I mentioned for you to do on how to be compassionate, how to find the things to be compassionate about. Find things that you can do to change society for the better. All right, let me pray with you guys real fast. Our Heavenly Father, we do thank you for all that you have given us, for our pets, for our lives together, for our world, for the material possessions that you allow us to enjoy. We thank you for each and every day that you give us here on earth. We thank you for this community. We thank you for each person that we come in contact with. And we ask that you will help us to be a blessing to them and to get a blessing from them. We ask for your blessings. We ask so much, and Lord, we ask that you would show us how we can give back to you, to show you how thankful we are. For it's in your name I pray. Amen.